Our hometown hero in Atlanta has one of the hottest cards in the sports card hobby. Can you guess who? You're about to find out in today's Top 5 Cards.
My name is Jeff Wilson. By day, I invest in tech companies. And at night, I invest in sports cards. Join me on my journey to profit from the hobby we all love.
Sports card investors, and welcome to another Top 5 Tuesday. We've got some hot cards to talk to you about today. And I wanted to thank eBay for sponsoring today's episode. eBay is your #1 spot for cards and collectibles. With the largest inventory of sports cards from basketball to soccer and buyers from all over the globe, eBay is the leading place to buy, sell, and invest your cards. All right, guys, we have been hard at work adding tons of new features and cards into Market Movers, and our video production team has been hard at work as well. Check this out. You can find out all about Market Movers and get instant access by going to sportscardinvestor.com and clicking on Market Movers in the main menu bar. Let's go ahead and get started with today's Top 5. Starting off in the number 5 spot today, Shane Bieber. Now, you guys already know that Shane Bieber is a great pitcher. After all, last year he won the Cy Young, and he was the ERA champ last year as well. But it's his start to this season, which really has sports card investors even more impressed. He has now become the first pitcher since the pitcher's mound was moved back in 1893 to throw 10 strikeouts or more in his first 4 starts. What an absolutely incredible accomplishment. In fact, he is currently tied with Nolan Ryan with 48 strikeouts through his first 4 games. So this guy is on a record-setting pace, and his cards are looking to set some records as well. I brought up on the screen here his 2018 Topps Update card in PSA 10, and you can see what this card has been doing over this is just the last week. I only brought up the last 7 days of this card because look at the movement. Just 7 days ago, this card was $80. It's all the way up at $122 now based on the most recent sale. More than a 53% increase in 7 days. Not a bad way to spend your week, making 53% on your sports cards if you happen to own a lot of Shane Bieber cards. Switching to basketball for our number 4 spot in this week's countdown, it's Gary Trent Jr. Now, before this season, Gary Trent Jr. was not necessarily considered that bright of a star in basketball, but this season he's really turned it on. His points per game has nearly doubled. He's also shooting 40% from 3, but it was his recent trade from Portland to Toronto at the trade deadline that really started to set his cards on fire. Since he has arrived in Toronto, he has been in a starting role, and his points per game have reached 18 points per game during this stretch. So his output is increasing, his defense is improving, and his card prices are improving as well. Now, I want to show you his card prices by showing you something really cool that we just launched in Market Movers. It is our universal card search. So check this out. You just hit this little search icon and you type in anyone's name, like for example, Gary Trent, and it's going to bring up every single card we have of his in our system that we're tracking. And by the way, guys, look at all of the different Gary Trent cards that we are tracking in our system. Market Movers is by far the largest database of cards. I mean, look at this. It's almost an endless list of Gary Trent cards that we're tracking. And if you can't find your card for some crazy reason, you can use the chart any card feature and it will go look up any card in existence for you. But in this case, let's look at his 2018 Prism in PSA 10. So let me type that in here. Got to get my spelling right. All right, there we go. So there, let's look at his Prism base in PSA 10. I'm going to click on that one. It's going to call that card up. Look at that 90-day trend line that it just called up on this card. You can see a really strong trend line, especially over the last few weeks. This was a card that right at the beginning of April, you could have bought for around $86 in PSA 10. This card is now all the way up to $170. It actually had a sale as high as $199. So over the course of April, this card has more than doubled, and rightfully so, because Gary Trent Jr., he's been playing one heck of a game. Sticking with basketball, in the number 3 spot today, it's the big man, Julius Randle. And what a season Julius Randle is having for the New York Knicks. He has been a true difference maker. His play has been outstanding. He's averaging nearly 24 points per game this season, even shooting 41% from 3. But he has been particularly hot over the last 4 games, where he has scored 30 or more points over those 4 games. The first Knick to do that since Carmelo Anthony back in 2014. Of course, Randle made the All-Star game this season for the first time in his career, and his card prices, they're looking pretty fine as well. This is his 2014 Prism base card in raw condition. Not a lot of these exist graded out there, but in raw condition, you can see that trend line. It's a bit all over the place, as raw cards typically are, because they're very condition dependent, but the overall trend line is up and to the right, and that's what you like to see. And you can see that he's had his most recent sale, obviously a little bit of a high outlier, but for this card was all the way up at $36, whereas he's had some sales less than half of that over the course of the last 30 days. Great to see this card going up, as well as several of his other cards increasing as well, as more and more people are believing in Julius Randle. In the number 2 spot today, it's our Atlanta hometown star, Ronald Acuna Jr. And what a season he is having. There was so much hype around Acuna heading into last season, because the season before, he had almost gotten to 40-40, which would have been an incredible accomplishment. Last season, he was injured some of the season. Obviously, it was a shortened season with coronavirus, so he didn't have the opportunity to show his full potential, but this year he has come out red hot out of the gate, and he is definitely showing off his potential. A .419 batting average so far this season, 7 home runs, and incredibly quick on the base paths. You probably have seen highlights of him on SportsCenter beating out infield ground balls. Acuna looks like the real deal this year. Now, he did get injured the other night with an abdominal strain, but thankfully MRIs are negative. Doesn't look too bad. Looks like he will be back in action soon. So let's go to Market Movers and look at some of Acuna's card prices. And guys, I got to use this search again, because check this out. I'm going to search for Acuna. You thought we had a lot of cards of Gary Trent Jr. Look at this. Like, this is just a library of Ronald Acuna cards that we are tracking every single one of these in Market Movers. Absolutely awesome. But right now, I want to look at his 2018 Bowman base card. So let's take a look at that one. Let's look at that one in raw condition. Go ahead and click on that, and we'll call up this graph for you. And look at the price movement on that. So again, it's a raw card. It's been bouncing a little bit all over the map, but you can see a nice upwards trajectory as a whole. It's actually up 88% if you look at it over the last 3 months over the course of this graph. And it's been particularly impressive here in recent days, as this card has been hitting all-time highs. And I show this card off because it's not an expensive card. You could have gotten into this card back in January for like $13, $10. You know, there was even one that sold for $2, but that probably had some condition issues. But there were a number of them that sold for that $10 to $15 range. Recently, this card's been consistently selling between about $30 and $45. Many sales of this card in that range. So that's a pretty good increase to go from $10 to $40 over the course of the last 3 months. Of course, many of Acuna's graded cards, in fact, almost all of his cards, whether they're graded or not, whether they're high end or low end, all of the cards in Market Movers, they're all going up and to the right. That's what you love to see. In our number 1 spot this week, a completely unexpected name, a name that you probably hadn't heard of before a couple of weeks ago. Akili Badu. And what a story Akili Badu is. The Detroit Tigers outfielder, this is incredible, had not faced pitching above the single A level before he debuted in the majors this year. And in his very first major league at bat, he hits a home run. Of course he does, right? And then he goes on, in his first 10 games, he goes 10 for 31 from the plate, 2 doubles, a triple, 4 home runs, and 11 RBIs, even a steal. What an incredible start to a brand new rookie's career, and a rookie who had, once again, never faced pitching above the single A level. Now, he has cooled off a little bit in recent games, but nonetheless, sports card investors are excited about his start. And there's not many of his cards out there, but the ones that are out there have certainly been going up and up and up. And you can see that here. I brought up his 2018 Bowman Chrome Prospects autograph card in PSA 10. This is just a population 91 card. Again, not a ton of these out there and graded, but you can see this card is up 260% over the last 30 days, 260% in 30 days. You could have bought this card for $122 in PSA 10 condition back in March. And exactly 30 days later, it was hitting highs as much as $700. There were sales of this card for $700, multiple sales for $700 after being $120 30 days ago. Now it's come down a little bit. The most recent sale was $441, but that is still a 260% increase from where it started at the beginning of the month. Congratulations, Akili Badu, for being the #1 spot in this week's top 5 cards. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed the top 5 today. If you enjoyed all those graphs and data, then you're going to love Market Movers. Go check out Market Movers by going to sportscardinvestor.com and clicking on Market Movers in the main menu bar. And by the way, tomorrow night, Wednesday night, we are doing our monthly Market Movers member live stream. And this month, we are giving away a box of 2018 Topps Chrome to some lucky Market Movers members. If you sign up before Wednesday night, you'll have a chance to be part of that live stream as well. Hope to have you as a member. Thanks for watching, everybody. Hit that subscribe button, hit that little bell icon so you're notified of new episodes. And we'll see you back in a couple of days with our next one. Take care.